Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining us for episode 204 of In Focus Friday, the show where we take a good close look at cool things made of silver or gold. This week we are featuring a silver pouring legend here on YouTube. He hardly needs any introduction. You can probably tell who it is from the Tree of Life designs here. It is, of course, Mr. Zeke. And Mr. Zeke is a silver pourer and YouTuber that I have drawn a lot of inspiration from over my time here on YouTube, as well as before even starting my YouTube channel. It was him and a few others that I was watching that inspired me to pour my own silver. So I just want to say a big, massive thank you to Mr. Zeke for the inspiration. And inspiration will provide the underlying theme for today's video as we look at some of his 2020 pieces. Really excited to open up this baggie and show you guys what Mr. Zeke has poured in 2020. Now, if you haven't checked his channel and Instagram out, there's links down below. He's not as active here on YouTube in terms of silver pouring as he once was, but he is doing a few little bits here and there. And I know when I purchased these from him and said that I would inevitably be doing a video on them, he said by the time that video goes out, they'll have all, sold and gone, and I'm sure they have. But nevertheless, go and follow him on Instagram and YouTube, and maybe when he makes his next batch at some point, you guys can get hold of some really cool Mr. Zeke Tree of Life retro rounds. That's, I think, what he was calling them. And what I mean by that is he's gone back to roots. He's gone and used a whip crucible, which is very different to furnace silver pouring, which is predominantly what he used to do, but he started on whip crucibles. And these are just, as the silver came out, you can see that they're not perfect in terms of, like this one here is not quite perfectly circular, but that's how they've come out. He hasn't polished them, he hasn't sanded them, he hasn't cleaned them, he's just stamped them with his Tree of Life, and of course his name, Mr. Zeke, serialized them on the back with 2020 as well. We've got 6, 7 and 8, although this one looks like a little bit of a T, but it's actually number 7. It's just the fact that there's a little tiny blemish of the silver there. So also he's got an upside down too. So I've got a mint error. I've just realised that. Mint error from Mr. Zeke. There we go. But you know what? It doesn't matter. And it's all about getting inspired and getting out there and trying something new, doing something, living with small mistakes like that, whatever. It doesn't make any difference to me. It is what it is, and I love it. And it also brings happiness, and that's one thing that I really want to talk about. Inspiration here, to do something different with your life. And whether that's just as a hobby, or whether it's turning into something more, like for myself, the pouring of silver is now my livelihood, it's my business here on YouTube as part of that too. So to be able to have that, to be able to have got something like that from the inspiration that Mr. Zeke and plenty of others out there have provided is just so cool, so cool. And it shows that you don't have to have a channel with thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers to inspire people. This platform that we are all on here is inspiring, and it can inspire greatness even from small YouTubers or people with hardly any subscribers. It can, and it does. And I'd like to think that Mr. Zeke is one of the best out there at inspiring people. So big thank you to him for this little message here. So these 3 button rounds now round out into 6 pieces of Zeke poured silver that I have, and I love every single one of these. These 2 here were the first pieces that I picked up, and I remember picking these up, and they were back in 2016, not long after I'd started my channel. And I remember it very well. And this is part of what I love about community poured silver, and just generally pieces from people who are hobbyists and creators and small businesses. I love this because it means more. The memory of purchasing these will forever live with me because at that time, 2016, I think it was around late September from memory, because that's when I was on holiday in northern France, and Mr. Zeke had made an announcement on his channel, and I was following his channel. Every single video that came out, I was watching it, and he put an announcement up saying at, I think it was like 6 p.m. US time, he would do a flash sale of a limited run of these Tree of Life rounds, a big one and a small one as a pair. And I was like, oh God, I want one, but 6 a.m. US time in France time was 3 a.m. in the morning. So I remember setting an alarm on my phone to wake up at 2:55, I think it was, in the morning, sign on to his live stream and basically just grab hold of them as soon as I could. And I am so happy that I got in there nice and early at 3 a.m. exactly on the button and picked up these here, and he shipped them out to us, and we love them. They're just part of our, basically like my cultural heritage almost here on YouTube. I just have that memory of that, and he was so accommodating for it. And he found it quite strange that this random chap with a couple hundred subscribers in the UK was so avidly keen to get hold of some of his poured silver at 3 in the morning. And I told him, I'd emailed him earlier on and said, is there any chance I can pre-reserve them, because it's going to be 3 in the morning? And he was like, unfortunately, fair's fair, we have to do it live, and completely understand that. So it is what it is, and I absolutely love that memory. It is really amazing. And I was talking about that with Mr. Zeke when we were purchasing these 3 rounds, and he remembers it too. And it's how we all interact with each other and how we all touch each other's lives in some small measure. And I love that. I absolutely love this part of the silver community here on YouTube and purchasing poured silver. And it means a lot. It really does, and it will remind me for the rest of my life about these good times and the good old days. It was at the office. Andy said, "You never know when you're in the good old days. Nobody tells you when you're in the good old days, but we're in the good old days, I think, right now." And I love it. It's just amazing. And then there was another inspiration moment when I saw him produce these hugely deep stamped pieces of silver, which is not something I'd ever seen before. And again, it was just an inspired moment, and I was like, yeah, I want one of those, definitely having me one of those 3-ounce bars. And he was very kind to ship it over to here in the UK. So, all things told, Mr. Zeke is an inspiration. He continues to be an inspiration even now in 2020. And I'd highly recommend that you go and check out his YouTube channel as well as his Instagram page. And I dug all of these 3 here out of my my community box to show you guys. And whilst I was digging through that box, I happened upon my first ever piece of silver that came out of my furnace. I did actually have 1 or 2 pieces that came out of a whip crucible like these here, but this was the first piece that I ever poured that I keep. And you might recognize it because it is my logo, my little avatar image. I love it. And this would not exist were it not for people like Mr. Zeke. And others, don't get me wrong, there were lots of others that I watched pouring silver back in the day, but Mr. Zeke was a really good inspiration. He was also a big supporter of the channel. Gosh, I haven't even mentioned that when I was pouring, and I think the first pieces of kind of ripple poured silver that I put up here on YouTube, he purchased one of them, and I was like, oh my god, Mr. Zeke, you're purchasing some of my silver. At the time I had like 100, 150 subscribers, something like that. So to have somebody like Mr. Zeke, who, I sort of somewhat idolised in some way, I would say, yeah, I idolised, in terms of silver pouring, get in touch with me and ask me to, for him to purchase some of my silver was incredible. And he did an unboxing video for it. I don't know if it's still up on his channel. I'm going to try and dig it out and put it in the description below. But he was amazing. And he coined an incredible thing that I hadn't even thought about. The ripples that we create on our backyard bullion poured silver, we put a leaf in the middle of it. The leaf was like the closest thing that we could find. In fact, here's the leaf here. The leaf was the closest stamp that we could find to something backyard related. We wanted something like, but obviously a tree was kind of already taken. So a leaf was what we thought about. And Mr. Zeke just commented that the leaf looked like it had settled on the molten silver as it was cooling and created these waves and ripples. And that's how I always see our poured silver with ripples now. And that is completely down to you, Mr. Zeke. Hopefully you're watching this video and this tribute to you. So thank you. We appreciate everything you've done for our channel, and we only like to pay it back where we can by supporting you. And to help that, guys, go over and sub to his channel. As I said, he's not as active in terms of silver pouring, but he's doing some really cool stuff with watches. And I'm not really a watch man myself, but I have had his videos pop up on playlists where he's working on watches, and it's really interesting. It's fascinating stuff, actually. So go and check out his channel. Also check out his Instagram page, because that's where he was doing the promotions of these and showing some of him getting back into silver pouring again. So if you I don't know if he's got plans to make more in the future. I know he's probably not got any of these left for sale, as they were all snapped up by people pretty quickly, but well worth checking out nevertheless for maybe something in the future. Thank you to Mr. Zeke for getting these over to me in the UK, and also thank you to LR103. I don't know if LR103 you're watching to this point, but a big thank you to you also for not just sort of sending these over, but the other little special bits and bobs that you put in that parcel to me. I really do appreciate it very much so. So Wonderful community, wonderful people here on YouTube and Silvertube land. Long may it continue. If you're inspired by Mr. Zeke or others, let us know down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Mr. Zeke Silver. I love it and I really will cherish it, I think, for the rest of my life. I definitely will. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's video, and shout out to Mr. Zeke, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. That really does help everything that we do here on the channel. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button with notifications on, if you so wish. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend ahead. Thank you all for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.